Yo,
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, it's showtime.
yeah, live now. Oh, look, we got one hater. Hi.
CEO of Spix.
apparently, apparently, he's a CEO of certain group of people,
Well, hey, that's a very important position to have.
if you say so.
Alrighty, so we've got zero people watching right now, but
Yeah, don't worry about it. The room will get packed. Don't worry about that. So what's up, man?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm drinking my protein shake right now.
Oh, that makes the two of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Woo.
So you've had a busy week.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Hold on, wait. Let me let me make myself proper. Yes, I have my brother. Yes, I have. Yes, I have my brother. Thank you for having me on, my brother. No, let me stop.
Well, we're having this live stream because we've had several discussions on this whole issue of white supremacy.
Yeah, several personal discussions. Yeah.
Yeah, personal discussions. And yesterday you were on a live stream also with Dominican Renaissance, right?
Yeah.
And the issue of white supremacy, as usual, came up. And we've wanted to do this live stream for quite a while now, but
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really interesting last night listening to part of the discussion. I didn't get a chance to really watch the whole thing, but
Yeah.
the thing that always the thing that impresses me the most when this issue comes up is how people are really so misinformed as to what white supremacy really is,
Yeah.
and the confusion about what it is.
And that's the main part. Um, is
Mhm.
the confusion of what white supremacy is and how it affects people for the most part, you know. But continue.
Yeah, from a couple of the live streams that we've both been on, I came away with the impression that when we talk about racism and white supremacy, people have a really exaggerated opinion as to what that is. It's like people think that white supremacy is the Klan, marching around in robes and burning crosses on your lawn. And
Yeah, it's a very elementary way
yeah,
of
it's a
thinking of
very
it.
elementary way of looking at things. It's I guess we could say it's the most overt expression of white supremacy that there is. But the fact of the matter is, it's a lot more complex than just that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It goes through different layers and different definitions. And Jesus Christ, right when I'm about to talk, a whole bunch of people start calling me. You know, like I said before, it goes through different definitions of
Mhm.
what white supremacy is and different layers of what white supremacy is. And
Mhm.
a lot of people like to point at extreme examples of what white supremacy is and
Mhm.
think that that's the definition when again it goes through different layers of what white supremacy is. It could go from the very moderate examples to the most extreme examples.
Yeah.
It's still white supremacy. Like Nelly Fuller says, if you don't understand white supremacy, then everything else will confuse you.
Mhm.
So based on that definition alone, sorry, based on that definition alone, it should tell you, okay, let me know a little bit more about what white supremacy is and how it affects my daily life. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Um, Absolutely. And I think for a lot of us, especially those of us who are not from American backgrounds, it gets really confusing. I know for me, it really took a long time before I understood what all of this talk was all about. It wasn't until I started experiencing it that I started to get an understanding. Um, like I was born here, as a lot of people know, I was born here in the United States, but I was raised in Jamaica during my childhood. And so when I came back, for all intents and purposes, I was an immigrant, you know? And I really didn't relate to the dominant culture here at all. So when I would hear African Americans talking about racism and white supremacy and having problems with the police, I really didn't understand what that was all about, because there wasn't anything in my background that could relate to it, because I came from a place where people of color were the majority, right? So this whole thing of the kind of segregation that you saw in the South was not part of our experience. And even when I learned about it in school, they would show us these documentaries, and it was always the civil rights era back in the South, and they'd show you like people getting beat up and all of that stuff. It still didn't give the full understanding of what it is, because now we thought, oh, well, that's something that happens down south, back then. It wasn't until I graduated high school and then I started going out into the world, outside of my neighborhood, that I began to experience things. And little by little, I started realizing what was going on. Um, let me ask you a question. Both of us come from the same area in the Bronx.
Yeah. BX all day. BX will be next.
What was it? Was there any one particular event that started to open your eyes up to the fact that there was something else going on than what we were led to believe?
Yeah, well, I've always, like I said, I've always was curious as to wondering why me and my family live in the condition that we live in. Why there's intense poverty. Why is there certain, why are black and Latin people in the same neighborhoods all fucked up,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what it was. So I would ask my mom, and she would be like, um, it's money. And that's all she would say. It's money, money, money. So I'm like, okay, you just need money to leave or whatever the case is. But I would see little instances of certain black and Latin people actually having, money, and still either that money will be taken away very drastically, or they won't be in a position to actually get the type of monetary advancements that other white people are able to get.
Mm-hmm.
So I just found that very interesting, like, okay, I don't know what it is. Then I learned the concept of, racism, because I remember, very young, seeing the whole Rodney King thing. And I asked my mom, I was like, damn, what the hell is that? And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, oh, it's just racism, just racism, So she explained to me what racism is. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
white folks not liking. So I'm like, oh, and then the whole slavery thing, in school. But again, that was a very elementary way of seeing things. Then when I was able to go outside, and get myself in as some people will probably say I was getting myself into trouble. That's when I started to see them like, all right, there's certain people who are collaborators and there's certain people who are not, but in a street level,
Yeah.
I just still chalked it up all to racism, but I didn't really understand what it was until years later when I started, to really understand. Like, when I was when my mom told me that Jesus was black, and I started to actually do my research, that opened the door to actually finding out more about what this racism thing was. And then I learned the concept of white supremacy.
Yeah.
Once I started to learn that, that's when my eyes start to get open. And it's basically like, it's like the Matrix. You start actually seeing a grid. You know what I mean? A grid of like what's going on. And once I saw that, that's when I started to actually put everything together. It was like, wait a minute, okay. I see what the hell is going on. And that's when I started to study a little bit more and 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 more about it. So that aspect of it. Then I started to understand my certain encounters with especially with the police,
Yeah.
weren't just random, one incident, I'm in front of the bodega, and I'm with three of my friends or whatever, and somebody who is selling weed maybe a couple of feet, 6 maybe 8 feet away from us, is doing their thing. We all know what he's doing. He's not part of our crew. We just know who he is from the block. Undercover cops come in and arrest all of us.
Yeah.
As a one all in type of law type of thing, to the point where when I get, I'm getting detained, this cop's boot is in my face telling me make his day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I'm not resisting whatsoever, I'm actually complying. You know what I'm saying? So those are the type of incidences that I've saw and that I've experienced, to the point where stop and frisk, it was again, as someone that is, not heavily melanated, I understand that black folks will probably go through the whole stop and frisk a little bit more severely than I did.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be, trying to say that our experience is the same one-on-one, but I did, just knowing that I am non-white and having the experiences of being non-white, I still did face those type of experiences. So with a stop and frisk, there was I would probably get stopped 1 or 2 times every month.
Wow. That worked for me.
Yeah, 1 or 2 times every month. There'll be gaps, probably 2-3 months will go by without me being stopped or whatever, and those are good days, you know what I mean? But they would just stop me, and they would just say stupid stuff like hey, you just fit the description, or whoever, or there was a robbery around the area, you just fit the description. And I'm like, yeah, for some reason I always fit the description, you know what I mean? When I had glasses or no glasses, for some reason I always fit the description. I remember getting stopped one time and I had a suit on and I fit the description. I said, how do I fit the description? I remember one time, this is where I started getting frustrated about it, because it was one time where I got stopped in 1 week. In 1 week, I got stopped every day, maybe 4 or 5 times.
God damn.
In 1 week.
Wait, this was like around Fort, like Tremont area?
Yep, around the Fordham, 183rd and 178 Tremont area.
Damn.
So
you know what? Around that time, like I never hung out in the Bronx. I would like, I would always go and explore Manhattan. So
Oh no, that's me. That's me going to the Manhattan too. That's me going to Manhattan.
well, you know
You
when I
know,
would get it, I would get it more like for some reason when I would have my bike, because I used to ride my bike a lot. And it was always like the end of the month, you know? Always the end of the month, I'd be getting stopped for some bullshit, regarding my bike or whatever, just like nonsense. And then a lot of times what would happen is I'd forget about those tickets and then they turn into warrants.
yeah.
So then
And
the
mind you,
next time,
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so then the next time I get stopped, they run my ID and next thing I know I'm in jail. But I pretty much had a similar pattern as you, like growing up, I didn't know anything. It's just like I knew that there was a big difference between the lifestyle where we were living in the Bronx and other communities because my parents would always take us, outside of the Bronx. We'd go different places, traveling all the time. And I saw what other neighborhoods were like and what our neighborhood was like. And I didn't understand why. Like I was like, well, what's wrong? Why our neighborhood is full of burnt out abandoned buildings and we have to worry about getting mugged and all of this stuff and other people don't. And like other things that I noticed looking back in retrospect that these things were not normal, but I didn't know because I didn't have any experience. So for example, in elementary school we had a vice principal that walked around with a pistol on his leg, in his boot. And, we could all see it. And he told us it was, that was for us if we got out of line. So,
Damn.
I mean, really wacky shit like that,
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, seriously, can you imagine an upper middle class neighborhood having a vice principal in
Walking
an
with a gun.
elementary school
Yeah, walking with a gun and stuff. Yeah.
brandishing a gun and telling the kids that that's for them,
Yeah.
and
Don't read the whole investing in your own community. That doesn't mean a goddamn thing because if
yeah.
we do,
So
we got to give it to these white supremacists anyway, and it's up to them to allow us, to open up or invest out in our community. So don't even worry about that. But continue.
exactly. So but the thing about it, that comment. What do people don't know? Because we grew up on the Grand Concourse, and the Grand Concourse back in the day, that was like the Park Avenue of the Bronx. What really made it plummet and it started going down like shortly
after the white people left.
Well, yeah.
When all you black and brown motherfuckers started moving into the neighborhood, that's when it started getting fucked up.
But, the thing is that
that's what these people want us to say. That's what these people think,
But what they don't know is what happened, right? Because I remember the Grand Concourse when it was still decent. My mom was the first person of color to move into the building where she was. And at that time, white flight. At that time, the Grand Concourse was still predominantly Jewish. But then what happened is that you had people moving out, right? The younger generation started moving out. The people who were there, they were old. They started moving to Florida. No, this was like in the mid 70s, like early to mid 70s. And they started moving out. The older people, they started moving to Co-op City. They started moving to Florida. And when that happened, the banks pulled out. of these neighborhoods in the Grand Concourse. So the consequence of that, when the banks pulled out, landlords couldn't get money to maintain the buildings, right? And because they couldn't maintain the buildings, a lot of them started burning the buildings down to get the insurance money.
Yeah.
So
And they started to blame us for it. They would say
yeah,
that it's heroin addicts who are burning these buildings down, which in reality wasn't the case. They will blame Black and Latin people, saying, well, especially Puerto Ricans. They would say that it's the Black and Puerto Ricans who are doing this to their own neighborhood,
yeah,
and stuff. And years later, you find out that that wasn't the case. Years later, you also find out that it was actually promoted by, you know, the state government to basically have these things happen, and people didn't care. The city knew something was going on, but they didn't care. Hey,
yeah.
listen, this is a cash out. Here you go. And these same landlords will go to Manhattan because it started to be a sprawling, a sprawling real estate hub, and they start to invest in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically so our sacrifice, you know, the sacrificing of us was the reason why Manhattan is in the shape that it is in now, you know?
Yeah, so you know, there were just so many things that contributed to it, you know, and the thing also was the poor standard of education, and we're going to do another discussion
Oh yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
our experiences with education in these communities, but you know, I didn't know why, and like I said, it's only in retrospect that I can look back and I can say that, you know, these things were really not right. Um, the standard of education was abysmal. And so you have all of these different things happening. It becomes a vicious cycle. You know, when you're in a depressed situation, one of the things that you really need to guard is your mind. And what I saw is that
Oh
there
yeah, I
were
lost
a
my
lot
shit long time ago, bro.
well, that's okay. There's a lost and found. We'll get it back to you. But you know, when you lose
No,
hope,
you could keep that. It's all right. It's dirty anyway.
you know, the thing that a lot of people don't understand with communities like this, right, is that when people lose hope and they don't have any any means of bettering themselves, they can't see a way forward. You give up. You start indulging in behaviors that are destructive. A lot of the substance abuse, alcoholism, you know, people get involved in these things because they want to numb the pain of what they're experiencing, that hopelessness. They have nothing to look forward to. So when you have nothing to look forward to in life, you become vulnerable to all kinds of dysfunction. And it wasn't long, you know, I'm an older generation than you, but you know, my generation is let's say 76 is when I came back to the States. And then by the mid 80s, you know, crack came into our communities.
Yeah, the good shit. Yeah.
But, you know, I remember how things changed. And it's not that it was great before crack came in, but crack made a bad situation even worse. And
And again,
so
it was government controlled.
it
You
was,
know,
it did come out, you know, eventually it did come out that these neighborhoods, inner city neighborhoods, were targeted for crack. Because, I mean, you got to stop and ask yourself, how do a bunch of people who are mostly blue collar work, you know, blue collar jobs, or low income, how do they get the money to import cocaine
Yeah.
into a community? How do you get those international connections
Yeah.
to be able to do that?
Yeah, it was listen, this is all, this is not even conspiracy anymore. This is actually proven fact. The CIA brought in tons and tons and tons and shipments of, of cocaine in. There was plenty of players into this. You have
Yeah.
you have the in California, you have the the Grosera Blanco, you have the Rick Rosses, you have the Alpos in New York, you have the Rich Porters, in DC you have the Wayne Perrys. So these are these are different players who didn't know that they were being government controlled. They just knew that they were getting money and that their connect just was a connect that never ran out of
Mhm.
stuff, so it's like Morena says, it's all in design, all by design,
Yeah.
but I just want to go real quick to the first statement about stop and frisk, and I really want to touch onto this. And the reason why I uploaded that video that I uploaded that other a couple of days, that kind of, I'm not gonna say went viral, but it kind of blew up a little bit on my channel. When I was getting stopped and frisked, illegally, my rights were being violated. The majority of the time were white officers,
Mhm.
who would stop me, and the first thing that they would ask me is either where's the drugs and where's the gun. And I'd be like, what? What? Like, imagine you're walking in a blue van, just opens up on some movie shit, and be like, where's the guns? And I'm like, huh? What? I'm like, I don't have no guns. I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. White Man. So, but the thing is, um, they encourage our own people, Black and Latin people, who were in uniform.
Mhm.
They encouraged them to target their own people
Well, it wasn't so much that they
and
encouraged them, is that they kind of made
forced them. They
them,
forced them.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
put them
forced
in
them.
a situation where they had no choice.
Yeah,
But
of course. So with that being said, when I was, like I said, majority of them were white officers.
Mhm.
The other part were Black and Latin officers who would either treat me the same or even a little worse than the white officers.
Yeah,
Again, like I said, I had a cop's boot in my fucking face, telling me it'll be bad for you if you resist. And this was a white officer, you
yeah,
know? And you would think that would be the worst thing. No, I almost got my arm broken by a Black officer. I almost got my jaw broken by a Dominican officer. You know what I'm saying? And these are the ones that will go up and beyond to prove
yeah, because
their loyalty.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like Ice Cube said, they
Yeah,
just showing off to the white cop. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
so it's
because they want to be seen as being a team player.
yeah, and I want for this discussion, I want, first of all, I want to define what white supremacy is.
Yeah,
And I want to make it very clear that when we're speaking about white supremacy, that does not, just because it has the word white in it, which does not mean it's all white people,
exactly.
whatsoever. There are white people and there's white supremacists. That's it, and you can still be non-white, meaning Black, Latin, Asian, Indian, whichever. You can still be non-white and be a mascot and promote white supremacy, because it's not only about the what you're doing is the infection of the mind, because it is how Truth Teacher so eloquently says it all the time. It's a mind virus.
It's a mind virus.
When you have our own people being colorist, that's white supremacy. When you have our own people looking at our own people who are darker than they are, or somebody who is not their own people, but just black folks in general, and they feel some type of way and they already have these negative preconceived notions, that's white supremacy.
Yeah.
When you automatically give excuses to why our own people got victimized and completely throw the legal standing or the legality of human rights out the window, that's white supremacy. So by definition, white supremacy is groups of people who is classified as white or is classifying as white,
Mm-hmm.
who dominate, control, and mistreat groups of people who is classified as non-white. Again, that's been the definition, but there's different layers to this. You know, like I said before, you don't have to be white to be a mascot or practice the system of white supremacy. You
Yeah.
know, let's look at Antonio, for example. You know, Antonio, it's no, even though he would love to be white, but he's not. You know,
What?
his
You mean he's not?
I don't know if this is news to you, but he's
I'm
clearly
sure.
he's clearly not white, but he butthead, yes, butthead, but he would love to be it. But let's look at the mind virus. White supremacy has infected him to the point where he has negative notions of black folks. He sees and he denies the part of him being black. So every negative notion that he talks about black folks is basically a projection from his own standing trying to reject blackness, you know, from himself. So this is something that we have to be very, very cognizant, cognizant,
Cognizant.
kind of don't fucking correct me. No.
But get it right.
Listen. My first this is not my first language. English is not my first language, so fuck you. We got to be cognizant about these type of situations and these type of individuals and these type of situations. You know what I mean? So by knowing this fact, you know, for that video that I put up talking about that Asian dude, you know, admitting that he is, you know, a racist, you know, and he practices white supremacy and says what he wants to say, and saying that that's a no N-word zone, you know, that goes to show that, you know, he's already infected with this mind virus of white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? And he is a collaborator for white supremacy. And that's the most dangerous thing about it, is because we think that we're supposed to be looking at a set group of people, and then we totally dismiss our own group because they could be collaborators as well, not knowing that we have a double agent amongst our midst. You know,
that's a very important point, and I want to get back to that. But I think before we go there, you know, if we're going to talk about white supremacy, and this goes back to the discussion you were having last night with, I almost said something bad, Dominican Renaissance.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to say his name right. I'm going to be polite. You know, he was talking about this idea of who's white. You know, he's asking what is white, because he was saying that, you know, the Spaniards never considered themselves white, which is kind of true to a point, right? But this whole idea of whiteness, what we have to understand, first of all, right, is that it's a concept that only exists in juxtaposition to other people who are not considered white. So, for example, when he says that Spaniards never had this classification of themselves as white, that's true for the most part. But it's also true for the rest of Europe as well.
Yeah, because I even told them, I said in that discussion, I said you're absolutely right. They didn't see themselves as white,
Mhm.
but the thing is, they saw themselves as superior, which is one part of white supremacy.
Well,
That superiority.
we're getting to that.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, the thing is that there was never a period of time in Europe when everybody was, holding hands, skipping around a bonfire, singing "Kumbaya." We're all white and everything is
Wait,
wonderful.
wait a minute. Hold on. You wait a minute. Hold on. Truth. What? Wait. Hold on. The honorable OG de Rancho tells us in one of the coon scriptures that the Spaniards
Mhm.
married their own and we lived wonderfully. Okay, we were uncivilized until those wonderful white men came in and beat. I'm sorry, introduced
Mhm.
Spanish and Christianity. Even though Christianity used itself as a way of war and killed millions of people in Europe, but that's not the point.
We're not talking about that now.
That's not the point. The point is that the honorable OG de Rancho told us in the Coon scriptures that Spain was so wonderful. So what are you talking about? You have to explain yourself, Mr. Truth Teacher. Tell the truth now.
Well, I'm going back before the age of discovery or colonialism, before they even knew that there was a thing called Africa, right? Let alone the Americas. If we look at the history of Europe, after the fall of the Roman Empire, until that time, what we see is a group of people who are trying to wipe each other off the map. I mean, there's a reason why you go to Europe and you see all these castles all over the place. That's not where Cinderella lived. You know what I mean? Castles are there for protection. And why did they need protection? Protection from who? Not from black people, from each other. Because they did not consider themselves to be one people. Nobody was sitting, oh, look, we're all white. That concept did not exist. People had their identity tied to their nation or their kingdom, as you will, back then, right? And even beyond a kingdom, most people identified most closely with their village or their city or their town, where they came from. Most people did not travel. You spent your whole life within the limits of whatever little town you were born in. So this idea of, the way we see the world now as being divided among all these different races, back then their concept of what race was completely different. The way they used the term race, they used it to define your ethnic group, your tribe, your village, your town. That's what was your race. So when you go back and you look at old writings, they'll talk about the Frankish race and the Celtic race and the Norse race. Nobody's talking about whiteness, you know? Now, they would use terms if they did come in contact with people who were of different colors, then they would use it as a descriptive, like as an adjective. But the concept of biological race hadn't been invented yet, you know? So when people like, I'm so programmed to say his name wrong, but Dominican Renaissance
Yeah. Yes, please.
say that Spain didn't have this idea of whiteness. Well, that goes for everyone. If you look at the English, they didn't have this idea of whiteness either. I mean, look, everything that they would do to Africans and Native Americans later, they did to the Scottish, the Welsh,
Yeah,
and the Irish
the
first.
Italians, the Irish, and stuff. Yeah,
You know, back before they even had colonies.
yeah. But now let me ask.
They did it all, and they did not consider these people to be
But let me ask
same
you.
as them.
Even though they didn't see themselves as white, the fact that they felt the right to colonize another group of people was part of white supremacy. True or not true?
Well, I'm getting to that because this really underpins the understanding of what white supremacy really is, you know? And to understand it, I mean, like, the difference between me and you is that I have a more expansive definition of what white supremacy is because I look at it from the context of a larger historical context.
That's a very nice way of saying I have a one-track mind.
No, I didn't
Yes,
say
it is. Fuck out of here. You know what? Fuck it, you bald motherfucker. No.
if that's the way you feel about it, that hey, I have nothing.
No, listen, it's not how I feel about it. That's how you said it, you asshole. I thought we had something. I really did.
At least I didn't call you a mental midget.
Yeah, that is true. Because you will come out with better insults, though. You will come out with way better insults.
I would, and I call you much worse things that we can't say on here.
Yeah, that is true. And guess what? I love it.
I know. That's why
I'm addicted to abuse. I'm addicted to abuse.
I'm the only person you know that's more twisted than you are. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
But, looking at things in a larger historical period, like your lens of reference is from the time of colonialism to the present.
That's right.
Frame of reference goes back to the fall of the Roman Empire,
which is dumb, stupid, so stupid.
Colonization into the present time.
So dumb, stupid.
Listen, if you want to understand it, you have to look back, right? Because white supremacy didn't come out of a vacuum.
Yes,
it was something that
no, it popped up out of nowhere, like a Pokemon. It just popped up out of nowhere.
Even when you look at the colonial experience of the Spanish, right? And you look at what was done to the Native Americans when they came, you have to understand that by taking a step back and seeing what was happening in Spain before the age of discovery. Once you do that, then you understand why these people behaved the way they did when they got over here.
Yeah, somebody said that I think the start of superiority or something like that was after the Spanish exiled the Moors. Because based on exiling the Moors, they had to basically put like not an edict, but put into like understanding that we are Spaniards and they're different than us. They're Moors, and they ended up having just these ideologies out of thin air. Our women need to be with us, and that's basically it. And I saw old paintings of the battle of getting the Moors out of Spain, and these were very rudimentary type of battle attire, which was the pointy white hats that the KKK has now.
Well, okay, I explain you everything, Lucy.
I already explained it. You don't have to explain what I just explained.
I explain you, Lucy. So, first of all, going back to what I said before, there was no concept of whiteness, universal whiteness. We're all European, we're all white.
Yeah, you're right.
There wasn't even a concept of identifying as European. Yeah. It was all these kingdoms. And like I said before, with regards to England, Their venture into colonialism begins with the Welsh, who are the southwestern corner of England, the Scots in the north, and the Irish. That's where their empire really starts. So it starts with them. And beyond that, you have to look at the fact that this is a feudal system. And what does that mean? This means you have an aristocracy who's ruling everybody, and underneath them are people who are tied to the land. You have a very large peasant class. This is where it all starts. So if you're going to understand white supremacy as it develops later, you really have to look at the issue of class structure in Europe. And you see, this is where you find the answer to the question, right?
Yeah.
What white supremacy really is.
Yeah.
By and large, what white supremacy is a mechanism, one of many mechanisms of class control that has been created by a ruling elite in order to maintain political and economic control of the population.
Yeah.
And they're really making this shit up as they go along.
Yeah, and
you know,
and I wanna also make clear that this myth of it's the small hats that are really the white supremacists. That's a myth.
yeah.
Are the small hats part of the ruling elite? Yes, some of them are.
Mhm.
I'm not denying that. But to say that they're all in the ruling elite, that's a way to dismiss everything else,
It's all
very,
about
very deflective.
It's all about an aristocracy. And now, with regards to Spain, the initial divide in Spain had nothing to do with concepts of color or race. It was all about religion. The fight to take Spain back from the Moors had nothing to do with their color whatsoever.
Because I think the Moors was practicing a form of
they were Muslims.
They were Muslims. They were Muslims, and they were pretty much having their religion being influenced, and they were teaching their religion out. And the Spaniards, some of the Spaniards fell in line, some of the Spaniards didn't. And those Spaniards who didn't are the ones who kicked the Moors out, and this is for Christianity and stuff like that. And they took that concept throughout Europe, and that did resonate with some people throughout Europe, because that's when I think
get into the Crusades. And
that's when we get to the Crusades, and when women will get burned at the stake.
Burning, I mean,
when they talk back. I'm sorry, when they when they get accused of being witches, which come on.
Yeah.
Well, come on. All women are. Come on. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Sorry.
This used to be somebody's baby once. Jesus. Fucking told her leave him in the hospital.
One of my ancestors was in Europe and was like, come on, women are defined as humans, but we know what they really are.
The whole thing with
blood sucking succubus. No, that's a joke. It's a joke.
Ren, could you please do me a favor? Go get a red chancla and beat the shit out of him. Get him in line. But, honestly, though, the whole thing, like the Reconquista is only one aspect of what was happening in Europe, right? To secure the role of Christianity. So, the whole thing about the witch burnings, This was done as a way of stamping out the old native religions in Europe, the pre-Christian religions. So people who were still following those earth-based spiritual traditions, those were the ones who got targeted as witches. And even people who considered themselves Christian, if they had a different theological persuasion, they were targeted. So even the Knights Templar who went on the Crusades to the Middle East, when they came back, they were targeted. You had the Melungians, you had all different types of people who were following a different interpretation of the Bible or a different perspective of Christianity. They were all targeted by the church and exterminated, really. So what we see happening in Spain is just a part of that. So now when you see the way they treated people when they came over to the Americas, the torture that they put people through, burning people at the stake, like mutilating their bodies, that goes right back to what was happening in Europe with the Inquisition. So this is where this mentality comes from. So you got two things, is that you've got an aristocracy, and that's the first thing you got to realize. You have a minority of people who are the elites. Now, if you're a minority, right, what is the one thing that you are most afraid of?
White people. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I know this. I am afraid of the people I'm trying to control getting in power.
Exactly. So,
do I get a sticker now? Yay!
You get a sticker. You get a smiley face.
All right.
A gold one too.
All right.
And if you behave, you'll even get a cookie.
But last time, no, let me stop. I'm not gonna answer this. Let me go. Let's go.
Listen, we got company. We gotta behave, right? Don't be throwing out in front of company now.
Okay. I'm sorry. So
now you made me forget what the fuck I was going to
say. Truth teacher made me clean my room and I wasn't able to watch wrestling. No, go ahead.
Damn. I'm going to fucking strangle you, man.
I'm a word wizard, bro. What you expect?
Yes, you are. We were talking about, okay, you have to
how women learn how to be women.
No, that's not
getting burned. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. No. Go
ahead. You have to maintain power. If you're a minority, right, and you're on top, the question everybody's going to ask is, why do you get to be on top and you have all the resources, you have all the wealth, and we don't? So
yeah, the have and the have-nots. I think Karl Marx spoke about this in his book, and he basically said that I believe part of Europe, I think was in England, was going to have a whole period where the have-nots is going to rise up against the haves.
Well, there were many periods.
Which he was correct, but it didn't happen in Europe. It happened in Russia. And he was correct on what was going to happen, but he was incorrect on where. And if you really look at what Karl Marx used to say about the have and the have-nots, it basically takes a whole concept approach of what really is capitalism and how it's maintained as a power structure and power vacuum now. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest, there was different levels and different periods in time where capitalism was being used. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And let's be completely honest, the effects, the after effects of the have-nots and the haves never changed. Mm-hmm. It's just certain periods of times have changed and certain techniques have changed, but the minority elites still control the majority.
And you see, and that's the thing. So now, if you're a minority, how are you going to, cement your power? You have to get other people on your side who are going to watch your back. And this is how you get the aristocracy being formed. When you talk about the knights and the dukes and all of these people, initially what these people were is you had these warlords, after the fall of the Roman Empire, you had these warlords. And in order to maintain their power, their position of authority, you'd say, okay, you know what? If you fight for me, I'll give you this amount of territory over here. You can be the landlord of that area. So this is where you get the aristocracy being built up. Their initial ancestors were those roughnecks that were fighting on the side of the king to keep the peasant class in place. This is how aristocracy begins.
Yeah.
So who's in place now? You have this hierarchy, the structure. You have the kings, and underneath them you have the nobility. And then underneath them you have a very small mercantile class who are there to serve the needs of that aristocracy. And below them is the peasant class.
Yeah.
The overwhelming majority of people.
Yeah.
So what we see with England and all of these European countries is the same structure, right? So when they get to the period now of exploration, they supplant that worldview where they are. But now you're in a different situation, right? You're in a different context. You're not in Europe anymore. You are confronted with people who you've never seen before. They look different than you. And so where are they going to be on that structure? Obviously, they're not going to be in the aristocracy. So where are they going to be? Automatically, they're going to be on the bottom. But now you're out of your comfort zone. You're in an area where, once again, you're a minority. What do you got to do? You have to create structures to protect yourself, to have people who are going to have your back. And this is how white supremacy starts to become a thing. It becomes, my labor. And first of all, we have to understand
I think it's safe to say that's when white supremacy started to evolve.
Yes, it's the evolution. And like I said, they're making the shit up as they go along. They're making it up as they're confronted with new circumstances, right, that are challenging them. So we have to understand that when they come over here and they create these colonies are not countries. Colonies are factories, right? These places exist as factories to produce wealth for the crown, whichever crown that may be, whether it's the English crown or the French crown or the Spanish crown. These are factories. We're extracting the wealth. Who are we using to extract that wealth? Because we don't have a peasant class anymore like we did back in Europe. So who are we dependent on for the labor? We're dependent on
indigenous people.
The
indigenous people. And one thing I want to say that the biggest trick these Spaniards have done was when they got there, they wanted to create a buffer class within those colonies.
Yeah.
And what they would do is they will give certain rights to certain locals, certain individuals, and also they did something very, very, very smart, which I still see Latin people being confused to this day, that they would actually call their offsprings that they either had sex with the slaves or raped the slaves. They will claim those offsprings as Spaniards, even though they had not that many rights as, you know, the mother or whatever, but they had something to make them at least higher in that class system.
Well, you know, it really depended on, you know, it's like I hear this argument all the time, and, you know, it's always used within the context of making a juxtaposition between the Anglo world and the Hispano world. And what people don't realize is that everything that you saw happening in the context of the Spanish colonies, you had parallels in the Anglo colonies also, but it depended on the needs of the ruling elite in those areas. So, for example, when you look at the English colonies, what you see is that they would create a buffer class of people of mixed race. And once again, it depends on their needs, because let's just blow another myth out of the water. Just because you were mixed race didn't necessarily mean that you were guaranteed to be recognized by your father. It all depended, you know?
Wait, I couldn't be recognized by White Zaddy?
Not necessarily.
Hold up. White Zaddy didn't recognize me?
Not necessarily.
Oh, hell no.
Depended on what White Zaddy needed. I mean, think about this. You have a slave plantation, and the narrative that people create is, well, you know, the light-skinned children got to work in the big house. Let's just think about this. Okay, I know they called it the big house, but how fucking big do you think that goddamn house was? There's only so much room in the big house.
Big enough. Don't worry about it. Why are you questioning it?
Listen, you don't have enough room for all these damn light bright kids to be running around.
We can make room, all right?
Some of them are going to be in the big house, but most of them are going to be out in that field chopping that sugar cane.
Listen, that sounds like hate. I know that sounds like I wasn't in the big house hate, all right? Get back in the field.
Well, actually, my great-granddaddy was in that big house, but that's a whole.
Oh, okay. You just want to go back to the big house, huh?
Yeah, but he was from Africa, you know. Hey, he was only 8 years old when he came, you know, so they put him in the big house. But anyway, the thing is that the overwhelming majority of people were not in a privileged position, even if they were mixed race, you know. It depended on the needs of the master. Some masters had affection for their children and some really didn't. It all depended, and it depended on their needs. So in a situation where they needed to have a buffer class, they would create, you know, they would give certain people a little bit more rights and privileges, right? Because remember, this is really a transplant of the feudal system that existed in Europe. So to understand what happened in the plantations and the encomiendas, right, you have to understand that system of feudalism back in Europe. This is why also you would have certain people coming over, like, you know, like the conquistadors, right? Most of these people came from poverty-stricken areas in Spain. You know, Extremadura, that's not a very prosperous area. You know, so let's stop and think about this. Why are you going to give people who you treated like shit back in the old country, why are you going to give them more rights and privileges now and boost them up? Give them free land to settle and to farm on. There was land back in Spain. Why didn't you give it to them back there? Why you gotta, you know? Because they had a need.
Yeah. So let me. All right. So let's let me ask this. Okay. So when white supremacy evolved, you know, when the conquerors, you know, the conquistadors came into what they renamed Hispaniola. and started the whole buffer class and stuff like that. Again, at what point did white supremacy evolve after that?
Well, listen, it involves gradually and differently in different places, right? So, for example, Dominican Republic and Haiti is ground zero, where everything started. You have to look at the kind of labor that they were extracting from these people, right? But now, here's the thing. You have to justify, why are you treating these people this way? Now, back in Europe, what they did was, well, the reason why we get to be the aristocrats and they're the servants, is because it's divine will, right? So they're like, well,
Let me just answer this. Certain mestizos were used as a buffer class. Yes,
absolutely, yeah, they were.
but continue.
But like I said before, just because you're a mestizo or a mulatto or whatever, does not guarantee that you automatically have a position of privilege.
Yeah, because part of the structure of the evolution of white supremacy, you got to understand, not only would the buffer class be created, but these idea of concepts of achieving whiteness will also be created also throughout time.
And this is the perfect time where we should discuss this whole concept of whiteness.
Yeah.
How does this come about?
Yeah.
And, like I was listening once again to the conversation you were having last night. And, what people don't realize is that this definition, and I can speak to it more from the perspective of what happened in the Anglo world, this concept of who is white and who is not changes over time. So remember what I'm saying, right? It is all dependent on the needs of the ruling class. So who gets to be in the in group and who gets to be in the out group all depends on what the ruling elite class needs.
Yep, even to this day. That's why we have concepts like white passing. The key is passing. Who is getting that pass is depending on the white person giving that type of pass.
Yeah.
So even that concept is still alive to this day.
Yeah. So, looking at how they treated the Irish, right? And even the lower classes in England, Irish people were not considered white, which is really ridiculous when you consider Irish people are some of the palest people on the planet.
Weren't they called like Simian or Seminole or something like that?
They consider, when we get into the period of time now in the 19th century is when they start trying to define it
scientifically, right?
Science,
yeah, because they said that the Irish. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but they said the Irish was a simian type race, or was it simian or Seminole?
Simian.
Okay, simian.
In other words, they were closer to apes.
Yeah, because they even had these very disrespectful drawings of the Irish with and it called them the ape like type of race, and I think that's where Notre Dame comes into this whole play, like the concept of the image of Notre Dame, like the hunchback of Notre Dame.
No, that's something completely different.
Really? I thought it was connected.
No.
What? I think I'm teaching you something. So yes, it is. It's connected. Let's just go with that.
But even beyond that, they even considered the peasant class within England to be a different race than themselves. But once again, this all depends on what they need. So we have to ask ourselves, right? When they come over here and they establish colonies and they put these people on a level above the Native Americans and the Africans that they brought over. Why would they do that? And something that's very telling, right, is when you look at the colonies that were founded in what became the United States, the English colonies, as versus the Caribbean colonies, right? So in the Caribbean, England took Jamaica away from Spain in 1655. And they immediately established a plantation economy, sugarcane. Now, the people who came to Virginia, they had a whole different economy at first. Their economy was not based on plantation cash crops. The people who came over initially were indentured servants from Europe. And the first Africans who came over were also not slaves. Okay, that's something very important to remember. The first Africans who came to Virginia were not slaves. They were indentured laborers, and they were on the exact same level as the European indentured servants. Okay? So under the terms of indenture, if you survive your period of indenture, you're supposed to be given land and, certain other rights. So that's what was happening in Virginia. At the very same time in Jamaica, it's a completely different situation. There is no equality, It's a completely different system because the system of labor is different. But now what would happen in the United States, or what became the 13 colonies, Virginia colony, right? Because they're not independent at this time. The people started to live out their term of indenture. And what they would try to do is they would try to work them to death before they were able to finish their term of indenture. Because if they finished, they had rights. But if I work them to death and they're dead, well, hey, you're dead. I don't owe you anything. And the mortality rate was very high. It was extremely high. But nevertheless, people started to live out their term. But now here's the fucked up thing about it. All the land on the eastern seaboard was taken up by these wealthy plantation owners. So all these workers are supposed to get land after 7 years, but there's no land to give them because it's all taken up. So they have their freedom, and because they're free people, they also have the right to own firearms so that they could hunt to provide for themselves. So look at the situation that you got now. You have people who were promised land. They have no land. They have no homes. A lot of them are homeless, but they got guns. You're starting to see a problem here?
Yeah, most definitely.
And they're the majority. So what you had a series of rebellions where these people who were European and African got together and burned the city down to the point where they had to bring in the military from England to stop it. And this is when we see the development now where they make a clear distinction between who is going to be the servant class and who is going to be free. And they create this division. Why? Because you had these people coming together and they were the majority and you were the minority. Street politics, right? Shit ain't any different than what we know growing up in the street. If I'm
That's a fact.
That's a fact. I need to have people to have my back. I got these white and black people and they all up my ass. Who do I got to have my back. Nobody. So what does that mean? I got to find a way of getting somebody to have my back. Now, who is the majority in the colony? Is it the Europeans or the Africans?
Radical needs to read more books. Joke's on you. I can't read. What you said? Who had who could control the colonies? You said.
Well, who is the majority? Okay, we're talking about the servant class or the bottom class, right?
Yeah.
Who is making up the majority of that? Are the majority of the people in that class African or Europeans?
No, they're going to be some mix of Europeans, but they were mostly African.
Mm-mm.
Of the lower class?
Yeah.
The not going to be African?
People, because remember, at this time, the economy was not based on African slavery. It was based on indentured servants. The majority of the indentured servants came from the lower classes in Europe. So the lower classes, the majority of people that were in the colonies were actually of European origin. Very few of them were African. So just street politics again. If I'm in the street and there's 20 people over here and there's 15 people over here, who do I want to have my back? Which group am I going to go to?
Yeah, you're going to go with the majority.
So what do we do now? Okay, well, you know what? Indentured, that's not a thing anymore. So we're going to give you a little bit more rights, a little bit more privileges. And you people over here, now you are slaves, you are servants perpetually.
Yeah, of course.
So that's how, so now looking at this bottom class now, right? We're all in the shit together, right? But daddy just offered me a position, right?
You best not take it. You best not take it.
But hey, it's a savage world, right?
Meeting guys, I guess Weeze has to poison Mr. Truth Teacher over here.
I don't succumb to poison, you know. I can only die from ground glass, you know.
Well, you's going to die today, boy. No, let me stop. No, continue.
So the thing is, you know, it's all about creating a division, right? To maintain power. So if you're looking at all these people who are on the bottom and you offer one group, you give them a come up. Well, now they just offered me something. Something, a whole lot of something, a little bit of something.
Yeah, it's something huge when you don't have nothing, especially
you guys over there, you can't do anything. You know, you Africans over there, you can't do anything.
So that's very understandable. So
I'm gonna go with whoever is offering me. It might be something,
because that concept and idea evolves in the mind of the less fortunate to the closer I get to that white status, the better I'll be.
And here's the other thing is what else they give them in addition to giving them a little bit more privileges, something that they're given that they never had in Europe, which is status. And so now is when you start to see this concept of whiteness being created.
The second evolution.
Yeah. Second stage. Status. You are white. This is when this shit comes whiteness is really not a thing back in Europe. It doesn't fucking make sense back in
Yeah.
Europe. But here in the colonies where you got these native people and these, you know, lower class peasant Europeans and these Africans, it makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
over here.
Yep.
So this is what we do. Now we split people apart and we will offer you a little bit more. So in the context of the 13 colonies, all these people who were peasants in Europe, they get a little bit extra. And now because you have the plantations have taken up all the land on the eastern seaboard, there's no land for even the plantations to expand. Because remember now, they got kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, so after you die, you divide the land up between your kids. But come on, you know, back then, people had really big families.
Yeah.
How much are you going to split that up? You can't.
Yep.
You can only split it up, but so much. You know, so what do you need? You need more land. Well, how are you going to get that? You need somebody. Where else are you going to go? The whole East Coast is taken up. Where else are you going to go?
Mexico.
That comes later. But you're close. You're close. You know, the only place left to go is the
West. Yeah, it's West.
And who's in the West? That's where you pushed all the Native Americans that are like.
And the original black people. Yep.
You know, so you got to go west. So now who are you going to put on the front line? Because to go west means you're stepping into somebody else's territory. And they're not going to give up without a fight. Who are you going to put on the front lines?
My mother-in-law.
Yeah, she's a bitch. Let her take the bullets. You need somebody who's going to be willing to go out there and take a bullet.
Yeah, and you're what you're gonna do is you're gonna put those people you have oppressed that work for you,
mm-hmm.
and you're gonna put them right in the front line. Like, let's go.
Yeah. So let me go to England. Let me go to Scotland. Let me go to Wales, and all those people that were like, you know, wallowing literally in shit and grime back in England. And remember now also, wealth is tied to property. All the land in England is taken. There's no such thing as upward mobility in England. If you were born fucking homeless, you're going to die homeless. You're going to be a beggar the rest of your life, just like your mother. You know?
Just like your mother.
So you got an opportunity. Hey, if you're willing to get on this boat, we will give you free land.
Yep.
Over here. All you have to do is promise that you're going to farm this land and build it up.
Yeah, and that was only done. That was only done for Europeans.
Yeah.
Later on, the whole immigration thing even evolved and said only Europeans were given this, you know.
We're gonna take all the dregs from Europe, all those low-class people.
Mind you, other groups of people had a lot more red tape to come through, or whatever the case is. But still, you know, Europeans were very encouraged to come here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
and
yeah, you're right.
Not because they really loved them like that, but because they had, once again, it all depends on the needs of the master. Yeah. So, yeah, I will allow you to come up. I will give you free land over here, you know, in the Appalachians, whatever, you know, start a tobacco farm. Yo, I'll even throw in free labor to get you started. And then when you start making a profit, you pay me back, blah, 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 blah. You know, you pay your taxes to the crown, etc.
Yeah.
You know, but they're going to use these people who did not have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. So now they come over, and just like those cops that you talked about, right?
Yeah.
those black and Dominican cops,
Yeah.
why did they treat you the way they did?
Because they don't like me.
Well,
uh,
you're annoying as fuck, but it was more than just that.
I guess, and I would annoy them also. No. Well, because like as you say, the oppressor class
Mm-hmm.
was forcing them to do said task,
Yeah.
and not even that, but let's be completely honest, even some of them even thought that they were part of the oppressor class, so
Yeah.
that's why they would see me and treat me, some type of ways.
And then also keep in mind now, these black and Latin people, most of them, they came from the same hood that we
Yeah,
all came from.
exactly.
They didn't have any status, but now
Yeah.
they own a police force. I can do
Yeah.
whatever the fuck I want to do.
Yep.
It's even better than being in a gang.
Yeah. Yeah. And that goes into what you was, breaking down historically what you were saying.
Yeah.
Also on top of that, let's talk about, if you want to talk about it right now, let's talk about how white supremacy also affects white folks.
Yeah. Because,
Go ahead.
because like we said, the whole system is based on the needs of the ruling elites, right? So the Europeans that came over here, some of them benefited and were able to become the aristocracy over here, right? But the overwhelming majority of them, no. What they did get was status because they never had that in Europe. They were Euro peons,
Mm-hmm.
Euro peons. They had no status. They were on the bottom of the bottom. Now, once again, just bringing it back to the street. We've all seen that dude that, he gets a little bit of something and now all of a sudden his ass is on his shoulders. You start, talking to people any kind of way and shit.
Yeah.
So what do you think happened when you had these people coming over here? And now, they were dirt. They were complete garbage back in the home country. And now you got servants?
Yeah.
How you think they're going to treat them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going to treat them like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to treat them like shit.
So now we're seeing something develop here, and
just like how Truth Teacher was treating all the other Jamaicans like shit, because he comes from a upper aristocracy type of class and from Jamaica. You know what I mean?
I never treated anybody badly.
This motherfucker is rich as shit. All right.
I was.
Look at the robes in the back. You think that shit just coming up with the apartment? Please. He's like 3,000 threat count or better.
We had status, but hey, when granddad got killed, we lost all the money. So here I am.
That shit buried in the backyard. Fuck out of here.
Back then, dig that shit up.
He was talking to Truth Teacher was talking to people all types of ways and shit. No, but continue.
That's the thing, is like people become self-important because now they have status, right? And like the saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Unfortunately,
you got that from Spider-Man. Shut up.
Spider-Man got it.
No, let me stop.
But unfortunately, this is what happens a lot of time. It's like people want to be seen in a place of respect. So you have these people, they came over from England, now they're here, they got their farm and everything. They got a little bit of status. Who do they want to be accepted by? They want to be accepted by the old aristocracy, the old money. They crave that because they want to be somebody. So the emotional aspect of it, right, is also another part. They crave to have that recognition, to be recognized as I am somebody, I'm important, I matter. And a lot of times when you have people in those positions, they're going to go above and beyond to be assholes to prove that they're worthy, to be
Yeah.
on the same level as you.
Oh
And
yeah.
you see this in everyday life, just working
Yeah.
an ordinary job.
Oh yeah.
You see it, you know.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, we need to recognize the fact that we use these terms, white supremacy, racist, whatever. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about here, we're talking about human beings.
Yeah, I wanna say a little story that you're absolutely right when it comes to people getting into power positions. Um, it could even be like I said, it could even be from in a job and stuff. Like like I gave the example of the police.
Yeah.
You know, um, I. I tell this thing about I used to work at the World Trade Center. You know what I mean? So I used to work at the World Trade Center, and my job was pretty great. I was I was a truck X-rayer or whatever the case is. But anyway, so long story short, I finally get in a supervisory position.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I finally get into that. No, I wasn't security. I was I was extra level of security. I would just X-ray the truck deliveries that used to come in. I used to work with the Port Authority, NYPD, and stuff. So I get a security of the security of the vending machines. No, not at all.
I thought you was working in the supermarket, I thought you was working in the supermarket and the produce, taking meat in the back.
No, none of that bullshit. Fuck you. Fuck you. No, so I got into the position of a supervisory position, right? It was me and three other people. It's so funny that you get to see people's real real feelings and who they really are when they get a small amount of power.
Mm-hmm.
And those three, outside of me and another girl, out of those four, Radical was 12. I don't know what that means. Out of those four people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and some other girl stayed the same. We didn't switch up. Her name is Samantha, by the way. I still get it, still in contact with her. She's real cool. Me and her did not switch up. We stayed the same. We didn't let that type of little bullshit position get to our heads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, when it came to the other two, they end up being ruthless, end up writing people up for no reason, end up being super anal about time, super anal about lunchtime, nitpicking every little thing, talking to people all types of ways, and they became like micromanagers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mind you, this position that we basically oversaw, and even in the office, were all Black and Latin people.
Mm-hmm.
The only one boss that was above us was white. Her second hand was white, and everybody else was Black and Latin. That's it. Right?
Yeah.
I remember multiple times people, employees would be like, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you. I'll talk to Rad or Samantha instead of you," because they could understand. And those are the type of things that would get them pissed. You know, like why are these people? Why are the employees more loyal to these two than to us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they would say something in the office which was very condescending. They would say, remember, it's us between them. It's us between them. But mind you, we were supposed to be a team.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you say it's us between them if we're supposed to be a team? You see what I'm saying? So I already saw that. And I already knew I'm not gonna follow all that, and I'm gonna give people leeway. And I'm gonna be extremely fair. No matter who it is, I'm gonna be extremely fair to the point where people will, like I said, rather talk to me or Samantha than anybody else.
Yeah.
If they had to talk to the boss because of something, they will actually request for Samantha or me to be present than anybody else. To the point where my boss even had to keep us to the side and say, "Yo, you guys are too friendly with the employees." And and that's a bad thing. How? And they couldn't answer why that would be something horrible. You know, listen, I remember I saved multiple people from losing their jobs. I caught multiple people at the overnight shift sleeping. I never reported it. I caught multiple overnight people on their phones, never reported it. You know, I caught multiple people coming back 15, 20 minutes late from their lunch shift, never reported it. Just told them, yo, if you're going to do this, just let me know beforehand. So I got you. You know what I'm saying? I always spoke to people like they were people.
Yeah.
You know, always spoke to people like they were people. Mind you, I will have Sunday and Monday off, and people will be like, yo, I had to work with so and so, you know, but I knew when Tuesday came around, I was good. You know what I'm saying? But mind you, I understand in these type of positions, you also have to put your foot down and be like, yo, don't take my kindness for weakness. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
will write you up. You feel me? I will write you up, but I'm cool and all that, but don't be taking this shit for weakness. You know what I'm saying? So actually, you are the reason we get bad service. Yeah, I am the reason why y'all get bad service. Like the fuck you want? Huh? You say you want a number two, but without fries? Damn, yo. All right, man. I gotta see. I don't. Well, just stay right there. Stay right there. Anyway, like I was saying to Shonda. No, let me stop. um. So those, you know, I made sure I didn't let these small, insignificant positions get to my head. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I made sure at the end of the day, I'm still another person just like they are. Once
Mm-hmm.
I take out this uniform, I didn't have more rights than nobody else. I knew that. You know what I'm saying? I knew that.
Yeah.
So when it goes to certain things like that, I saw other people try to fuck up other people just because they were in the position to do so. Just because of that. I remember there was this one time um this lady came in late, and I was actually doing an extra shift. I was getting OT for an extra shift because I was covering for somebody, and the dude that that's taking the position to the head, he goes off on a certain person because they came in 5 minutes late. This is the third time I told you, but I'm like, whoa, chill out. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I'm like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
relax. What's the whole point of, you know, talk. You know what I'm saying? What's the whole point of talking to people like that? You know what I mean? I like chill out. But she knows if she's gonna come in late, she gotta let us know ahead of time. Yo, just bro, calm down. It's not that serious. Relax. And mind you, this dude was getting red in the face. You know, light skinned Puerto Rican guy getting red in the face. I said, yo, chill out. Just calm down. Chill out. So he was about to write her up, and I said, no, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. You gonna write her up? I'll see what I'm gonna do, but I got it. So I just got her to the side and was like, listen, I'm gonna change the time. I'm gonna change the time on my supervisor phone. Text me right now saying that you're coming in late. And guess what? She did. I changed the time on my phone to 20 minutes before. She texted me and it showed that time 20 minutes before, you know?
Yeah.
I changed the time back and I said, listen, if this is the 5th time he told you not to come late, what happened? Well, there was a situation with the train, this and this and this, which ended up being true. There was a signal malfunction that stopped all the 4 trains. And by the way, the 4 train is a horrible train to take.
Oh yeah.
So
the axle?
Yeah. So I go like, you know what?
Especially back then. It runs a little bit better now, but back then it was hard.
Yeah, the facts. So I go, all right. I go to the MTA website and it says it right there. 4, 5, and 6 trains are having signal problems from 96th Street to Chambers Street. I say, God damn. So what I did was I took a screenshot of it. I also sent that photo message to her and said, just in case somebody else outside of me asks you why, you got proof.
Yeah.
Yo, Rad, thank you so much. Oh my fucking God, thank you so much. I was like, listen, don't worry about it. I'm not writing you up, but try to come back on time because I can't save you all the time. You know what I'm saying? Just try to come back. All right, thank you, this and this and this. Puerto Rican guy comes, yo, you told her what it is. She can't be. I'm like, yo, first of all, calm down. And I told him flat out, listen, it was my mistake why I didn't let you know that she was coming in late. I forgot to advise you. This is the text message of her letting me know that she's coming in late because of train signal problems. It's in the website and it's saying the trains were having signal problems, 3 hours before her shift will start. Well, if she knew that, obviously she did not know that. Nobody knows a train has signal problems when they're going to work.
Yeah, you don't know that until you get there on the damn.
Exactly. And she said that she left on time. And guess what? I believe her. Because if she's already this paranoid from you yelling at her, then I believe her. I don't think she wants to piss you off just because it will make her giggle. And because I spoke to him logically, and I told this to my boss, and she said, oh, yeah, not a problem. It's totally fine. That's totally fine. Go right at, I'm not, you shouldn't, no need for a write-up. Because I did that, they saw me as, he's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, he's a problem. He likes to, he likes to he's real cool with the people and all that. He's choosing them before. No, it's not even all of that. I'm not letting this thing get to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not letting this thing get to me. I remember one time because we had this thing. If a person gets 3 write-ups, they get to have a meeting with the boss, and the person who was giving the write-ups has to be present and sign off on their termination, right? Somebody else gave another employee 3 write-ups, right? And this person was on vacation. And I knew this person very well, and I did not know this person had 3 write-ups. This my boss said, hey, you have to be present on this person's termination. I'm like, what do you mean termination? What are you talking about? I made the decision this person's going to get terminated today because they were caught on the phone 2 times, and also he came in late. I said, wait, hold on. Wait, what? Well, yeah, he was caught on the phone, and you know the rules. I'm like, yeah, I know the rules, but do you know that he just had a baby? Oh, wait, he what? He just had a baby. What days did you catch him on the phone? They called him on the phone the day before he had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And they called him on the phone the day after he had a baby. And he's had the medical wristband on to go back to visit his baby moms.
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to be on the goddamn phone. It's an emergency. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, it's your first kid. So I said, yeah, he just had a kid. Why was he getting written up? Because obviously it's an emergency. Oh, I didn't know that. Obviously, the person who wrote him up knew that, but they still wrote him up. Give me a minute. I went outside and I spoke to him. I said, yo, did they know? Yeah, this and this and this, blah, 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 blah. I said, hold up. So they knew and they still wrote you up. Give me a minute. I went back to my boss. I'm like, I'm not signing off on this. And I told her flat out, I'm not signing off on this because of this and this and this and this and this. The man just had a kid. Yeah, you're going to be on the phone. Of course you're going to be on the phone. Somebody's going into labor? Yes, you're going to be on the phone. Are you serious? I was like, this guy just came in late one time, but he's always doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? And you know what she ended up doing? She ended up putting those 2 phone write-ups on the side and said, if you bring in proof, I said, look at his wrist. He has a wristband. Are you dumb? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I even went a step above to take a picture of the wristband, print it out, and give him a copy just in case. And I put it in those 2 write-ups to the point where she ripped up the 2 write-ups and had it null and void.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So those are the type of things that I did. I'm not going to just, hey, have somebody's life go down the drain because I have power to stop it. You know what I'm saying?
But you see, that's a thing that a lot of people out here really lack integrity. So now that was just you working a normal job. Put this in the position in the context now, of what we're talking about here. White supremacy, when you have these people, they come over here and, underlying all of this is the element of fear. It's all fear-based. Because the people who are in the elite structure, they're afraid of losing power. They're afraid of losing economic power. The people who are the new, come-ons, they're afraid of going back into poverty. They just escaped poverty. They don't want to go back to that. So they're going to fight tooth and nail to keep themselves in a position of strength.
Look at what viewers said. Radical strength of story times. Yeah, you're right. Listen. I could I could take you there. I took you there, right? I took you out there. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? I took you out there. I be painting pictures with my words. You heard? Now go ahead, bro.
But you look at this now, right? And you ask yourself, why is it that even people who clearly, and this is the argument you always hear from people, right? Well, I didn't own any slaves. My people didn't own it. No, but that whole part of having status and a shot.
Yo, Viva's in the chat.
Move up. Hey, Tina, how you doing, sweetie?
Shout out to Viva. Listen, if I was Viva's supervisor, I'd be like, no blonde wigs. All right, no blonde wigs. I don't want to see no fajas over here. Get out of here. This is not no fashion show.
Oh, hold on a second. So if all the people you had bad experiences were On your job where Black and Latino, how is that white supremacy? Okay, so you CEO, the thing that you're not understanding here is we're looking at the deeper context of human nature. Because remember what I said before, at the end of the day, you have to understand what we're talking about is we're talking about human beings. All right? And human beings in certain contexts are always going to act a certain way. So we're talking about the context of people who are coming from a lower position in society. And all of a sudden now they're put in a situation where they have more power. What do they want? They want to get even more power. They want to get more status. They want to move up. And they believe that the way to do that is to prove to the people who are above them that they're worthy of it. So how are they going to show that? By trying to do things that are going to make as big of a distinction between them and the lower people as possible.
Listen,
we deserve to be up here with you.
Listen, being in competition with each other is completely different than throwing someone under the bus. That has nothing to do with it. And this is the concept of white supremacy because in this story that I just said, in my experience, these people were in a superior position where they could affect change to individuals. And but they took it to a point where it was unfair. So they had a source of supremacy within that. You know what I mean?
The point that I think some people are missing here, because I guess we didn't drill down deep enough into it, is that white supremacy, what it is, it's class warfare. It's class competition. It's one of many tools that were created by the ruling elite to maintain their power in society.
And like I said in the beginning,
the whole concept of whiteness was a tool that it was an idea that they created for a specific circumstance.
And like I said in the beginning, white supremacy comes in different forms, from extreme forms to very moderate forms.
Yeah.
It's still white supremacy, and we got to call it out as such, recognize it as such, you know?
And and then this goes back, this thing that we're talking about now, right? These people who are the come-ups, right? This goes directly into this question of what is white or who is white, because like I said, back in Europe, there was no concept of whiteness.
Yeah. I got a question.
Yeah.
If your hair is blonde, would you be considered white?
You could be from the Solomon Islands in the Pacific, where you're very dark-skinned, but blonde hair is a natural feature found in that population.
Got it. What if you wear light contact eyes and wear blonde wigs? Would you be considered trying to be white, or would you?
There are people in Africa who do experience hair bleaching when they stand out in the sun for a long time, and some of these people do have a genetic defect where their eyes actually are blue.
I didn't ask that. I said if you wear blonde wigs and have and wear contacts deliberately, would that be considered a way of trying to basically diminish your blackness or diminish what you naturally have to have access to a higher status?
No, it means that you're trying to be a mutant from the Solomon Islands in the Pacific.
You fucking asshole! Ah, shut up! No, let me stop. I'm just playing. I'm playing. Oh, you were what?
Now, if that person is beating you in the head with a red chancla, then they're probably channeling those old slave master ancestors,
Yeah.
They're challenging those white slave master spirit guides.
Yeah.
Trying to keep your ass in check.
I was trying to
biscuits.
I was trying to mess with Tina. I was trying to mess with Tina. No, but listen, it's about to be 2 hours. Like I'm about to head out of here. Anything that we should cover really quickly?
Well, once again, I really want to emphasize the fact that, what I said before, people have to understand white supremacy in a historical context, in this historical, economic, and political context.
And
And
what you did a really great job in it because you gave me more insight on what and you're right. The way I saw white supremacy was from slavery till now. I didn't really
it's a piece of the puzzle. It's just not
yeah.
the whole puzzle.
Like I didn't I'm gonna be honest, I didn't bother to even care about looking at how the concept of it started back in the day
Yeah,
and
well,
to slavery, because of let's be honest, I don't give a fuck. No, no, it's like it was a very good it's a very good observation and a very good way to basically look at it, because now I understand a little bit more where and how it came about.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, everything that goes with it, even the concept of who gets to be white and who doesn't, it changes over time, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said before, nobody in Europe before was white, but then you have people like, for example, the Irish and the Scots. They were not considered white. They were not,
Yeah.
But when they are needed, they get lumped into whiteness, right?
Yeah, to benefit the overall agenda. Yeah.
So today we have situations where we've got, like Middle Eastern and North African people being classified as white.
If only it was in article form. I don't read anymore. I'm a YouTube historian. That's it. Let me stop. Go ahead.
You look at a situation where North Africans are considered white, which is ridiculous, because you go to North Africa, you go to Egypt, you see a whole lot of people that look like me.
Yep. And see, that's the power of classification when it comes to the system of white supremacy. They could literally label someone that is not white as white.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll start walking around with that confusion of whiteness, and then you'll start actually looking wild and saying, hey, I actually am white, I'm from my ancestors are Spanish, and that's it. You know what I mean?
You have this situation where you have a lot of people who are not technically what's considered white in this society, but a lot of times they're even more racist than a lot of white people. That whole thing, this whole dynamic that we were discussing, that you were talking about, what happens when you have people who ordinarily don't have power, all of a sudden they get a little bit of power, and how it goes to their heads.
Yeah. And the thing is, like I said, going back to the confusion thing, people start walking around here confused, even to the point where they'll start doing small things to alter how they see themselves, like wearing blonde wigs and putting light contacts on and stuff like that. But things like that. I'm not saying necessarily to a certain individual. I'm just saying, like, in the overall scheme of things, start bleaching your skin, even. You know what I'm saying?
Gina.
No, not Tina. Not Tina. I wasn't talking about Tina. I'm not talking about Tina.
Tina's gonna bring the duct tape. I'm gonna bring the red chanclas, and we're gonna fucking wail on your ass.
Well, but
I just want to acknowledge this comment MXC made, that some North Africans are super quote unquote white. Yeah, you do have people like that, but hey, you have people in the African American community who are super, you couldn't tell them apart from an average European either. But the overwhelming majority of these people are not, white in any sense of the word. I mean, you even have people, I mean, Nubians, come on. It doesn't get any blacker than Nubians, but technically speaking, Nubians, as dark as they are, as kinky as that hair is, they're considered white, on paper at least. But once again, it goes back to, and by the way, the whole reason why Middle Eastern people are considered white goes back to the turn of the century, when you had a lot of people coming out of Palestine, Lebanon, and Syria. Now, the thing that people need to understand about the Middle East and North Africa, it's just like the Caribbean and Latin America. It's very multi-racial, for want of a better word. You have many different phenotypes. There's been a lot of mixing over thousands of years, and so you have everything from the blackest black to the whitest white. But people in the Eastern Mediterranean tend to be lighter in complexion, and these were the people that started coming here to the United States at a time when citizenship was linked to whiteness. And these people were mostly Christian at that time. That's another important factor. So, this goes into the whole white Jesus situation, right? So you have a situation where these people come over here, they're from the Holy Land, but they're not considered white. So the implication is, well, if they're not white, guess who else wasn't white? Tina? So the position the United States government that they're from the Holy Land, they're from the land of Jesus and the Bible, and so they're white. And by this point, Christianity had been conflated with whiteness. So because we have, this white supremacist attitude that everyone in the Bible was white, well, the people from that country, they got to be white too. And cultural ignorance, they're like, oh, well, all them ragheads over there, they all the same thing. So when Palestinians and Syrians got white status, everybody else in the region did too, regardless of what they actually look like,
Yeah.
So, and this is what I mean, is that they keep making this shit up as they go along.
Yeah, and that's why us Latin people, we need our own race. Anyway, I'm out. Shout out to Truth Teacher. Thank you for having me. I learned a lot. Thank you for having this wonderful discussion. I did learn a lot of the historical facts of it, which, man, you should have told me this before we had this thing. You never really got deep like that,
Well, I want to dig a little bit deeper. I know you got to leave, but I still got a little bit of time. Would people like to join in if I put the link in the box?
Sure. Try to just put the link in the box and see if people join in. If you want me to hang out a little bit, I could definitely hang out.
Yeah, I mean, I would, because we just started to scratch the surface.
Okay. I'll no, you don't have time. Yeah. Like I said, if you want me to hang out, I'll definitely hang out. But what was it? Yeah, put the link in the box and see who wants to come in. I'll definitely wait. I'll make sure I can't go. I'll definitely wait for somebody to come in. If not, then I'll definitely head out and then come back in if anything.
Well, listen, if nobody comes in, then we'll wrap it up, and we could pick it up another time and go a little bit deeper. Because I really would like to examine this whole process of the creation of the idea of whiteness.
Yeah, make a part two, bro. Just make a part two, and we'll definitely pick it up. Maybe
also another thing that we had raised in our own personal conversation was how quote unquote white people are also affected by this. it's a double-edged sword, because
See, the thing is that you be so long-winded. You know what I'm saying? You go through one
what the
thing to
hell is
another thing
talking
to
about
another thing to
them
another thing. You just gotta
long-winded?
just hit them with the facts, bro. God
Start
damn,
telling
shit.
us about your job and what train you had to take to get there and
I
how
only
you had
did that
to
one.
walk.
I listen, I did that one time. I did that one time. How long we on this shit? 2 hours, you bald-headed fuck. 2
2
hours.
hours.
Listen,
Yeah.
I
And an
understand
hour and a
that
half
you
of
old
that shit was
motherfuckers
you
like
talking
to
about
tell
your fucking
stories. I totally understand you old motherfuckers like to tell stories of back in the day where everything was black and white. I fucking get it. But you geriatric fuck. The whole point is the reason why we don't fucking have enough time right now and I gotta go is because it took you 2 hours just to say one fucking thing.
Some fat people over here got to breathe through their mouth, and they took the whole goddamn time talking about their job, and now their fucking brain is running out of oxygen. That ain't my fault.
It literally took 12 minutes. It literally took 12 minutes.
12 minutes, yeah, and add a zero on it.
You fucking geriatric fuck. You're so old. Oh my god. Did you listen? I have to call this piece of shit every morning and make sure he takes his fucking pills because you know what? He won't remember. He won't remember, and his back will get thrown out again. Remember that one time you fell and you couldn't. Remember that one time you fell and you couldn't get up. Who you call? Exactly, you old fuck. Where's the cane?
Why the fuck you calling me in the morning when you don't get up before 3?
That's the point though. That's the point. That's the point. You're not supposed to call me in the morning. I don't even know who you are in the morning. Okay, I got other people to talk to in the morning.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? What happened?
Yo, streetwalker, you be out.
Listen, what I do on my own time is none of your business. All right. Oh my god. Listen, it's 10 o'clock. I got a client to see. No, let me stop. Let me stop. No, but everybody's liking this little rant. You will be one day, right? Yeah, I will. But anyway, listen, shout out to the chat. Shout out to Truth Teacher. We should definitely do a part 2, and maybe you could shorten your stories for fucking 30 minutes to maybe 15 and get to the goddamn point.
Somebody could stay focused, If
I literally no. First of all, you should be fucking happy.
Next time,
listen. You should be really happy because I actually did stay focused. And I didn't drift off. Usually in our conversations, I would drift off and get distracted because I got major ADD. Okay, you know this.
Somebody took their Ritalin today, so I guess I should be lucky.
You know they don't make Ritalin strong enough for me. But you know this. I have major ADHD. You know this. But you're lucky. I actually paid attention, and guess what? You gave me a sticker, so we're good. You know what I'm saying? So we're good. So we're fucking good.
Realize that this was somebody's baby once, right?
Listen, I really get distracted. I don't know if people know this, but I really get distracted very easily. Very easily. So, but you're lucky I didn't. You know why? You know what that shows? I respect you, Truth. That's what that shows. I have a lot of respect for you. This is why Truth Teacher Radical don't need their own show. Hey, Christina can be the director of the show. No, it's true. It's fucking true. Truth Teacher be coming with the craziest insults. Like, I swear to God, like some I Love Lucy. I'm like, Truth Teacher, what the hell is going on? And Truth Teacher walks in like, what? And then the audience would just come out of nowhere. I'm like, explain yourself, and you're like, no, but no. Like I said, shout out to people with ADD are hyper. Yes. I am too. Like the thing is, when I really put my mind into it, I can really like, okay, what's going on? You know what I mean? And it's a good thing that he had his camera on, because if he didn't, I would have dude, I would have been like, what?
Well,
Huh?
that's what happened when I turned off my camera.
See, that's the thing. I need
Okay,
something
well,
I need something.
now I know for next time.
I need something moving for me to get for me to get so I could like stay focused and stuff. That's why I like cartoons.
So next
Anyway,
time I'll keep my camera on and I have something shiny to like dangle around to keep your attention.
dude, I'm not a fucking cat. What the fuck? No. What the hell? Listen. Anyway. This is like the 5th time I'm saying bye. Peace out, people. Nobody's coming in. Is nobody in the background?
No.
All right, then there you go. There you go. You know what this means, right? You know what this means? You know what this means, Truth? You're gonna die. You're gonna die all alone, and you're just gonna have me, annoying old me. I can't wait to put you in the fucking home. I swear to God, I will laugh on that day. I will put you in the home, and I will sign those papers like,
you know what? I'm gonna switch your medication and have you all fucking stoned out, and that's who I'm gonna end up in the home.
No.
No. I'm a mutant. I don't look my age. I don't age like other people.
Whatever.
I'm still gonna be youthful, and you're gonna be like an old fuck.
Dude, what are you talking about? Before you go to sleep, you take that fucking yogurt bullshit with your pills. What the hell are you talking about?
Yogurt? I don't.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You take that yogurt shit that makes you shit when you wake up in the morning, because you got to get your morning shit or you'll be clogged up. I don't have that problem because I'm young. I'm a youth. I don't have that problem. I'm a youth.
Yeah, right. Let me see when you get to be my
age. Yo, qué malo eres, right? Yeah. Nah, it's all fun and games. I love this fucking asshole.
Of course he does. You love me like a fat kid loves cake. You kidding me?
Here we okay. All right, no. Okay. Everything was good and fun, but when you attack my weight, it's like you attacking me.
I'm not attacking weight. I just,
Listen, you're the reason why I stay on the fucking treadmill for an extra 15 minutes, you asshole.
Listen, if you had done what I told you during quarantine, just run up and down the stairs every day, you wouldn't be a big roly-poly bastard.
First of all, that's not what you fucking told me, all right? That's not what you told me. You want me to really tell the people what you told me? Because I already know what it was. First of all, I have a hairline. I have a hairline, you hairline-less piece of shit, all right? I have a hairline. If I would have done what you did, my hair would have been in my pillow every fucking morning, and I would have cursed you the fuck out, okay? Me and Kim would have been buddies against you. So fuck you.
You ain't got no hairline. You're just a fucking
my hairline is beautiful. My hairline is crisp. Yeah,
we'll all believe
every time I get a shape up, they'll be like, God damn, your hairline is beautiful. I'm like, yeah.
We'll all believe it when we
see it. Yeah. Listen, you're jealous of my hairline, you alopecia fuck.
Anyway, do have a hairline. I have an awesome hairline. It's got wicked curves.
Truth has a hairline, yeah, in the back of his head, the back of his head. Listen, that's how he salutes.
At least I got it.
That's how he salutes. Oh man. But listen, did you get that? Did you get that? No, for real. All jokes aside, did you get that Rogaine that I sent you? Because I sent it express mail. Also, I sent you the injections that you have to put on your forehead, so you could actually start seeing some growth. You old fuck.
No, I think
by the color of your hair, I already see that you took my advice and started coloring the grays out. At least you did one. Yeah, at least you did one thing that I told you to do, which I'm really happy for. Because sometimes older people aren't that wise, and you gotta sometimes listen to somebody younger. You know what I mean? You gotta listen to somebody younger. And I'm glad that you took my advice. You actually colored your hair because I told you it wasn't that expensive. You know what I mean? But can you at least use the injections I sent you in the road game, please? Because
all I need is for you to roll your fat ass over here so I can rub your belly and make wishes, you fuck Buddha looking bastard.
I told you I'm working on it. Stop it.
Yeah,
Stop
right.
it. I'm trying to get my six-pack back. Stop.
You got titties in the front and titties on the back. We don't know if you're fucking coming or going when you run.
Don't want to leave, Brad. On to the next topic. I only got titties in the front. You know this. You know this.
Yeah.
You know this. Anyway,
going.
What?
We don't know if you're coming and going when you're running. You'll be bouncing all over the place.
Oh man, I run faster when I roll in the ground. No, okay.
Most round things do.
Yeah, well, that's what's called gravity. That's what gravity is our best friend. No, but anyway, let me let you go. I'm out.
Okay.
I'm out. We gave these people a good 15 minutes of comedy. Yeah, I'm glad we do need our own show. Well, actually, this is something I told Truth, and I'll probably ask you guys if you guys want this. I am gonna show my face. It's not like it's never gonna happen. I'm definitely gonna do that. You know, I'll show my face, I'll do whatever. I was telling Truth that when I do that, I'm planning on making like a show when the summer hits of me and Truth going out in the city and trying new foods or touristy spots and stuff like that. Starting it in the Bronx, yeah. And then going to Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, and stuff. And I was telling this the Truth, hey, we should do like a little series or whatever of touristy spots to hit in New York City. And both of us judge the foods or whatever the case is, you know, and judge the touristy spots. So we go to museums and restaurants and stuff like that. Obviously, I was thinking that it's gonna be called Radical and Truth. You know what I mean? Because obviously, come on, guys.
Well, Truth and Radical.
I'm sorry. What?
Truth and Radical.
Wait, hold on. Why you got to go first?
I get top billing.
The fuck you talking about? You get top billing. First, I'm doing alphabetically. Yeah. I'm doing alphabetically. Why you gotta go? Why you gotta? First of all, you are not the star. Okay, are you number 25 on all Latin podcasts? You're not. Okay, you're not even number 25 in all Jamaican dancehall podcasts. So get the fuck out of here. All right. You know what you're number one in? I'll tell you what you're number one in. You're number one in being an old geriatric bald-headed fuckface, all right, that need to take medication and poop yogurt before you go to sleep, all right? That's what you're number one in. Congratulations.
God damn it. I told your mother, leave him in the hospital, and she just wouldn't listen, and then she fed him all that. God damn it. You're never going to get rid of him now. Now look.
See, look at that. A Radical Truth. I love affair. The love affair. No, but I don't know. We'll bounce the name around. But what do you guys think? Would that be interesting? Oh, Tina said that would be interesting. Thank you guys for the comedy. The yelling you know what? Okay. But if you guys like that idea, we should definitely do something. Truth. What do you think? Should hitting up touristy spots in the Bronx will be the first thing, right?
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy over there. Oh my god! All right, listen.
we can't put out in public the way we were fucking trashing each other for real though.
Oh yeah, no. That Tina knows. Tina knows. Last night, Chuv got me really good. Chuv got me really good. But no, yeah.
They get my channel taken down.
Yeah, no, it's true.
If I crack
I
into
will,
the way I do
I
in
will,
real life,
I will flag your
channel
channel.
do
I
that.
will fucking flag your channel, bro. I will flag your channel for going for what's it called? What's that? What was it? Not body dysmorphia. What is it? What's it? What the fat people hate? Body positivity or something like that.
Body shaming.
But there you go, body shaming. There you go. Yes. I will flag your channel for body shaming. Oh, come on. The Bronx, El Culo of NYC. Nah, there's a lot of good things in the Bronx. But yeah, okay, so I'm out. Peace, guys.
Okay, you can go out. Alrighty. I'll stay and talk to the people just a little bit longer.
All right, peace.
Okay, so Nawa-san, yeah, I know you want to kick my ass, but hey, I've been working on it all day, man. So give me a break. But yeah, just in closing, like to get back to topic, this whole thing about white supremacy. I wanted to do this presentation because, especially in the light of what's going on today and all of the division that's happening, I really wanted to put it into context for people. And, like I said, this is something that we have to realize. At the end of the day, number one, we make up all these terms, white people, this and that. Listen, we're talking about human beings at the end of the day, when all is said and done, right? And you have to realize that all of us are human beings, for better and for worse. Human beings, we are our best friends and our own worst enemies. And whatever you see going on in one community, it exists everywhere. So it's not this big mystery. It's a lot more simple than what people think, But we get distracted because we've grown up with this whole image that's been created for us to make us think that, this group of human beings over here reacts to reality and life in a completely different way than anyone else does. So this is my second live stream, and I had some people asking me about, doing things on other topics, like, for example, African spirituality. I definitely will. I definitely want to visit this issue of white supremacy again and go a little bit deeper into it, because what we're seeing now, especially coming up to the election, we're seeing a lot of nastiness play out. But one thing that I would like to say to everyone is not to get discouraged when you see all this stuff going on, right? Because, before you heal, you got to go through a lot of pain, right? I mean, it's just the way the universe is constructed. I mean, think of it this way. You make a dinner, right? Really great meal. And now you got all those pots and pans left over, and they are completely disgusting. Got all kind of caked up stuff on it, and now you got to start washing it, right? You got that baking pan in the water, and all that grease and grime and grit is coming up, and it's just really disgusting. But you have to go through that phase of dealing with all of that yucky stuff to get to the part where you got a beautiful shining pan again, right? And what we're dealing with now is we are in a position where we're scrubbing the dirty pots and pans of the soul, and all of that grit and all of that grime is coming up, and it is disgusting. It's horrible to look at. But what we're doing now, talking about it, examining it, looking at it is all part of the healing process. How about white slavery and slavery in Africa? Um, that's a very good suggestion. I do have a video on that topic about Africans enslaving other Africans. I did do a video on that. Just really quickly, what I'd like to say about that is going back to the point that I raised earlier, that there was no such thing as whiteness in Europe. By the same token, there was no such concept of blackness in Africa. And just because people had the same skin tone did not mean that they perceived each other as being the same people. We're looking at this reality right now from the perspective of a modern world that's gone through colonialism and slavery and come out on the other side. And now we have this concept of a reaction to slavery and colonialism in Africa. We got this concept of Pan-Africanism that never existed back in the colonial period or in ancient days. Nobody had this idea that just because you look like me, we're the same person. So keep in mind that Africa is not a country, it's a continent. And now we've got like 54 different countries, but those countries were formed by the colonial powers. Before that, you had empires and kingdoms. And so when you go to Africa now, just keep in mind that every country you go into, there's a multitude of different ethnic groups that are there. And those people did not always get along because they were rivals. And this is why, when you look at one of the situations why we have so many problems in Africa today, it's because colonial powers put people into a same country who were traditionally enemies. How do you expect those people now to get together and work with each other? They were mortal enemies before. Like, for example, England and France. One of the reasons why the English and the French were so late to establishing colonies in the Americas is because England and France were at war with each other for 100 years. Can you imagine now a situation where another power comes in and they put English people and French people together in the same country? When you got these two people, they don't speak the same language, they don't have the same culture and customs, and they have a history of fighting against each other for hundreds of years. And now you leave and you expect that these people are going to cooperate with each other and create a stable government? How's that going to happen? The Tutsis and the Hutu, exactly. Look at what happened. And even looking in Europe, look at what happened when Yugoslavia, when the Soviet Union dissolved and Yugoslavia broke apart. Those people were all at each other's throats. I mean, the same time that you had the genocide in Rwanda, you had the genocide happening in Bosnia. This idea that just because you look alike, people, exactly, MXC, England versus French versus Spain. These people hated each other, They were at each other's throats. So what happened in Africa, it was unfortunate looking at it from the advantage of the perspective of history, right? We can see now that that was a really bad idea. But back then, in the context of the time, when you have warring factions against each other, well, hey, instead of killing them, I can sell them and get money. Well, they're still alive, right? So that's better than killing them. And these people, they're not my people. I'm Yoruba. Those people over there, they're Hausa or they're Igbo. They're not my people, So why should I feel any kind of connection to them whatsoever? That's the reality of the world. And, like I said, go and look at that video that I did. It's dealing with slavery. The whole issue: did Africans sell their own people? The answer to that question is no. Africans did not sell their own people. Various African kingdoms sold their enemies into slavery. So there's a whole lot to unpack here, and I got Radical on here for this topic because everyone knows him, that that's his talking point: white supremacy, white supremacy. But I really wanted to dig down a little deeper and really uncover what white supremacy really is, because it's really not what a lot of people think it is, So I definitely will do another topic on this. We will look into it a little bit deeper. Jamaica was under the Spanish flag and the English took it. Yeah, exactly. And so you got to ask yourself, why were they doing that? Because they were in competition with each other. They did not see each other as we're all white, everything is wonderful, we're all brothers. That's not reality. Most countries have class issues rather than race issues. Well, exactly. That's the point that I'm trying to make, is that this whole thing about racism and, white supremacy, at the end of the day, it's really an issue of class. It's just one of the many mechanisms that people have created in order to maintain a class structure. That's what it really is. And I think that if people would realize that, maybe that could do a great deal to heal the divisions that we have in our society right now. Because, look, we're in the midst of a pandemic. Our economy is, people are struggling. And what's going on in Washington? Those people are there playing games, when over here, in the real world, all of us are getting our clocks cleaned. You got people being evicted. You got people whose houses and homes are in jeopardy of going into foreclosure. And these people have the power to help us and to stop all of this. And they're busy sitting there up in Washington playing games, while the rest of us are out here struggling. So, like people getting into these debates about Democrats versus Republicans. Listen, look at what's happening, man. They're not concerned with any of us. These people are so damn out of touch that they can't even get together to help the American people, regardless of race. So who's really winning here? White people, they're getting their clocks cleaned. Black people are getting their clocks cleaned. So, this whole issue of white supremacy needs to be understood in a much larger and broader context. And with that, it's a little bit past 10:30 and people are fading out. So people, thank you all for joining in. And hopefully next time you guys, will join in the conversation too. So thank you for stopping by once again, and you all be good. Peace out.